the current time is 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Hope everybody's doing well. None of this financial advice. Please trade your own risk. Okay, so from where we left off on Tuesday, right? So to get right into that, we're going to cover ES and Bitcoin here to start it off, right? So it touched the support a couple of times, like right on the money. It tried to sustain above it, but it ended up breaking down. Bull stepped in, they came up, essentially hit resistance and just unable to get above. Like shortly after, we just got a huge dump here. And then right at the close, it just closed underneath the support at 38.98 spot 75. As of now, right? So let's just see how like Monday plays out essentially. But the way I'm looking at it though for the time being is that obviously like it's showing some weakness here. What I would love to see is for it to actually try and recover like pre-market on Monday, or maybe some point, maybe let's say we get a slight sell on Monday, depending on how the price action looks, maybe get a recovery, right? I would like to see it get back over, the 39.31, right? And if it could do that, then at that point we could get a continuation of this impulsive move higher, right? Towards, the macro targets, right? Which I've been talking about like on Twitter for who knows how long now, right? Those 42 to 43, it could take a little bit of time to play out, but we'll see. Just referring though to the short-term price action, I would like to see it get above the resistance here, and essentially, as long as it's below it, I'm looking for the next support to get tested, which is 38.66 spot 25. Where it's hanging out right now, it's in a brief consolidation here, obviously not showing too much strength at the moment, so we got to just essentially, it's like, let's see how it goes pre-market on Monday, and then not financial advice, but take it from there, right? Especially because this can basically do whatever it wants at this point. And even like where the tech stocks are at too, it's pretty mixed. Like they could actually bounce from here. I was looking through them. It was pretty mixed on that part, but obviously they can also, just break down, right? Depending on how Sunday goes, or let's say we get some type of news that comes in. Something else to make a note of too for next week is that Powell is going to be speaking multiple times. So just a quick heads up for you guys, like in terms of like following the news and such. And that's really relevant to the price action, right? Like the impact that he usually has on it. We can use technical analysis, of course, right, to help, get an idea of how things will go. But obviously it's going to create some volatility, and the conditions can end up changing a bit. And then as traders, we just have to like adapt to the changes as they come, right? It's just like basically how we play ball, right? So that's just something to make a note of, just in case any of you guys aren't aware of that, just like a heads up on it, right? And that impacts like all the markets too, to an extent. So yeah, that's kind of the update on ES. Let me get to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's a little bit more interesting to me, just because like I'm really waiting for, the potential of an alt season showing up. I believe I've talked about that the past two videos since I started up the YouTube videos again. But the idea is that I'm looking for the Bitcoin dominance to end up dropping at some point, and the alts playing catch up, right? So like obviously the USD pairs have ran up a good amount, don't get me wrong, but the BTC pairs, right, can definitely play catch up, and we can definitely see a lot of upside in them. There is potential there. So just be on the lookout for that. But again, like there is no rush like whatsoever. It could take a little bit to play out. So I'm not trying to like create FOMO or any of that, that nonsense. I always like to keep things realistic and level-headed. As you guys know, right, by now, I try and keep a very a practical view, right? And nothing really like driven by emotion and all that stuff, right? So very stoic, if you will. But yeah, so that's just something I'm watching out for, and just like a tip for you guys too, to just be like on alert, watch the BTC pairs, see how they go, and then kind of take it from there while watching BTC in conjunction with that. Okay, but let's go over the price action here on Bitcoin. So it did end up doing a pullback here. It did it like in a 5-wave structure, which is like I'm not too thrilled about that for the short term. I mean, personally, like I don't really care that much. I'm mainly an orchid at this moment, right? Which, you know, that's like all on Twitter too. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. You know, it's a swing, but whatever. But going back to Bitcoin to see how how this price action ends up developing, right? Is that the fact that it does look corrective here, and that if it can't do a really strong push above 60, and I mean like impulsive, right? Where it would be really annoying, but the BTC pairs would end up getting hit again. But for Bitcoin bulls, what they want to see is, 60,000 basically, just get turned into support again, and then you get a rip back towards 100 grand, right? Not a complete rip to 100 grand in one shot, but a continuation, right, if you will, of these higher lows and higher highs, the uptrend, right? But while essentially though, while it's underneath 60, 50K is on the table, right? So that's the thing to really look out for. Is that a massive drop realistically? No. It's at 58,000, 58.5K right now. So it's nothing really too crazy. Futures are also close too. So if anything were to happen, let's say a drop or a pop, here's another tip. Just watch for the gaps, and then you can always play accordingly with that as well. Like looking at that, the futures in conjunction with the cash market, right? For BTC, since it's ongoing like over the weekend, right? So just be on the lookout for that too. And that's also really it for BTC. It's so simple. 60,000, 50 grand. The only two things that really matter to me at this point in time. So it's a very like cutthroat. It's not cutthroat, I guess. Like it sounds harsh, but it's very straightforward, if you will, right? So that's kind of it. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm going to be very responsive in the comments too. Put my notifications on and stuff like that. I recently even figured out how to enable the comments. I think my first video I didn't have them on. I didn't even realize that. Or it was like the one prior or something. So yeah. I'll be responsive like in the comments and all that good stuff. Yeah, so I do hope everybody has a great weekend. Yeah, and I'll speak to you guys on Tuesday. So yeah, take care and bye-bye.